What's going on, everyone? This is Raymond Roots of The Blueprint, and today I'm coming to you with the first episode of a series that I haven't really found a name for yet. But what we're going to do in this series is that we're going to look at individual scenes from movies, and we're going to break it down from different perspectives. We're going to look at it from a cinematographer's perspective, but we're going to break it down in different categories. It could be things such as color grading, it could be camera angle, it could be composition. And today we're going to be looking at a scene from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Now, I know traditionally when I say Harry Potter, the first thing that comes to mind probably isn't cinematography, but I believe, and it's my opinion, that the cinematography in Harry Potter is incredibly underrated and it's incredibly beautiful. And I'm going to just show you in a short episode in one scene how the cinematographer and the director manages to use tools to enable them to tell a better story. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into YouTube. We're going to show this scene from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I'm going to break it down from 3 different angles. We're going to talk about camera angles. We're going to talk about composition. And we're going to talk about color grading. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So the scene I want to show here is when Harry sneaks back into Hogwarts and Snape is notified. Snape, at this point, he has killed Dumbledore and he's now the headmaster at Hogwarts. So he has heard that Harry has come back into Hogwarts, and obviously he's hunted by all the Death Eaters. So what he's doing is he's gathering all the students in a show of power to tell them that if they are cooperating with Harry Potter, they will be punished equally. So let's just dive into the scene and see what happens right here. And even from this first shot, there's just so many things to break down. So what I want to do here is I want to pause and I want to go back to the context of what's going on here. We want to go back to all the students being gathered. And the reason why I want to go back to the scene prior to the one that I'm breaking down is because we are breaking it down from a storytelling perspective. And what we want to do is highlight how filmmaking tools can enhance your story. So, all right, we've just seen all the students being gathered, and we have this scene right here where Snape is walking towards the podium or up the stairs, and all the students are gathered. And I want to take a screenshot here just to show you simple composition tools used to tell the story here. So in the middle, we have the subject, which at this point, we know it's Snape, but once we're looking at it, it could be anybody because there's no reveal, but it's pretty clear that the person in the middle is the one who's running the show. He is the one who has all the power. And the way that you can see that is that, first of all the students have their backs turned throughout this whole shot. At no point do you see the faces of the students, but you do see Snape's face, and you see the Death Eater's face once he does the reveal. So that alone indicates that they don't matter. The students right here, I'm just gonna draw it. The students right here, they don't matter as much as the subject. Just simply based on the fact that you actually get to see a face reveal. Another thing, which is maybe the more obvious thing, is the framing here in the shot. So with composition, what you want to do is you want to draw the viewer's eyes into whatever you want them to look at without having to force them to look. You want it to happen naturally. So what you see here is the cinematographer and the director have aligned Snape in the middle and created these lines that draws your attention towards Snape. And it's not just done in the students, it's also done through the window. As you can see, the window is 3 panels and Snape is dead center in the middle panel. And if you go further, so this is a pretty static shot, and you can tell how your eyes are just drawn into this mysterious character, which is Professor Snape in this case. But this is a static shot. If we go even further, you can tell that, look, right here, once he goes up, a person is going to come in here from the right, and I want to take a screenshot of that as well, and let's break that down. All right, so we've talked about these lines here, but Snape is nearing the edge of this window panel right here, which for some you may make the argument that that means he's breaking the composition, but I would say that the fact that they're adding movement from a person who's revealing themselves, he's moving towards Snape, and this person right here was moving towards Snape as well. We can take a look, see movement right here on the left side, and then we have movement right here on the right side as well. And what that does, I just want to remove all these arrows. What that does is it creates extended lines. So whereas the line was here before, the line ends up being extended through these new people that you see. And that helps you point towards Snape again in a different way. And you also have this window right here pointing down if you want to make that argument. And then you get to the reveal. Severus Snape. Dramatic. And you see the push-in shot. Again, at no point do you actually see the student's face. So from a storytelling perspective, you have a scene where you want to show someone who is in power, someone who's feared, and someone who has the upper hand. And what you do here, what the cinematographer has done here, is they've chosen not to show the people who are not in power. What they've done is they wanted to focus solely on the one who is in power, and they've turned the students' backs towards the cameras, which again indicates that they do not matter at all. And another detail, if you want to go even further, is this person right here. I'll just remove these arrows. This person right here, if you go back subconsciously without even noticing, you see this person in one shot. We'll get to it in the next shot right here. Come on, right there, boom. I mean, it's hard to tell from the back of the head, but you can almost make out that it's this person. And that's another touch that you probably didn't notice. So just simple centered composition, it just really does a whole lot for the storytelling in this case. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is camera angle. And we can even start in this scene again. This very scene, at no point does the camera raise in this scene, just pushes straight on. And the angle that you get from this scene here is at no point student's eye level. No, we're looking at it from a lower perspective. And what it does is when Snape steps onto the stairs, it makes him look even greater and above the students, more powerful than the students. I want to show you an example of the exact opposite, where we get to this scene right here, where Snape has been talking, and we're looking at Professor McGonagall, who is a super powerful witch in the Harry Potter series. But look at how the camera's angled towards her. From a bird's, is it called bird eye perspective? From bird's perspective, you see it from up, and the camera's pointing down at her and the students. And what that shows is that she's not in power anymore. When you film someone from a higher angle, it shows that they are vulnerable, they're exposed, they're not as powerful. And we go back to the scene right here, it's the exact opposite. When we look at Snape, we look at him from a lower angle, and when we look at the students and Professor McGonagall, just find the scene here again. When we look at Professor McGonagall and the other students, we're looking down at them, which indicates that they are in a position of weakness. Another place where the camera angle has been utilized in a very subtle way, actually, is when Snape is walking towards the students. I'm just going to find it right here. Towards the students. It's a very subtle detail, right? The camera is at Snape's head level. And because he's taller than everyone, it's slightly pointed down at the students, which again shows weakness and strength for, in the case of Severus Snape. You can see it here as well. Once we get to the front of Snape, this was let me just find it again. This was the back of Snape, which I made the argument that it's at Snape's head level and it's looking down on the students. But once we get to the front where we see his face, the camera is slightly down. Like you could say the center of the lens is probably somewhere around his chest, which makes Snape look powerful, as we spoke about before. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you guys and girls about is the color grading. And I've taken a screenshot. Let me just find it right here. Taken a screenshot from around here, and I've put it into DaVinci Resolve, and I've tried to color correct it. Obviously, this is a a screenshot of a compressed video on YouTube, so the quality is not going to be that good. But what I've done here is I've completely removed the color grade. This is the original, and I've color corrected it so you guys and girls can get a sense of what it looks like before the color grading. And the reason why I'm doing this is to show you how color grading really can add to the story. So we want to take a look at the parade. I guess you call this is the scopes, right? But we want to specifically look at the parade so you can see the colors. You can see the greens have been pushed a little bit. The reds have been pulled down a little bit. So once you color correct it, you see there's a lot of green and not a lot of red. So what I did was I went to Google and I said dark green symbolism. I wanted to see what dark green means, because at the end of the day, I believe that the filmmakers made a conscious choice to use this color. And dark green represents, according to Google, greed, ambition, and wealth, while yellow green stands for sickness, jealousy, and cowardice, and olive green represents the traditional color of peace. So I'm just gonna go out here on a limb and say that there's a lot of dark green, there's a lot of yellow green, and some olive green as well. But I think mostly you can see that the green tint in this image really fits the story. It represents greed, ambition, wealth, while yellow green stands for sickness, jealousy, and cowardice. And I think this whole sequence of Snape coming to a position of power, obviously at this point we don't know he's a good guy, but Snape having to deal with the fact that he's the headmaster now and times have changed and he's really showing his power in front of the students. I think the color grading makes so much sense in this context. I'm just going to show you guys again. This is the movie color grade. You can even tell already that the picture is falling apart because it is, like I said before, it's a compressed YouTube video that I've taken a screenshot of. So there's not a lot of information in this image, but you can color correct it to a certain extent. And you can even see Snape's makeup on. You can tell that before. I couldn't, at least, but you can even tell the makeup is there. And as you can see, the blacks are completely falling apart. Obviously, there's not a lot of information in this image for me to color correct, but nevertheless, now we've just looked at how color grading really can add a lot to the storytelling. So what we've done now, and we've looked at the composition, we've looked at the camera angles, and we've also looked at color grading. And these are tools that cinematographers and filmmakers are using to manipulate and to manipulate the story and tell the story in the way that they want to. So if we went ahead and color graded this scene a different way, like we could have made it a happy scene color wise, but it just wouldn't have fit with the vibe. Even with the natural look, this doesn't seem like it fits with the narrative, with the story. This color scheme that they've picked just fits a lot more. And you can even tell the darker the Harry Potter series get, the more green and blue they get, which is like coldness and greed and this whole dark vibe that they're going with. So like I said before, once you think about Harry Potter, the first time you think about Harry Potter, it's probably not from a cinematography perspective, but if you just dive into it, and I'm gonna dive into it in a lot of in more episodes in the future. If you dive into it, you'll be really surprised with how much thought that goes behind just a simple scene. These are things that our filmmakers are using for your pleasure. Once you're watching the movie, you don't have to work to look at the subject. No, the cinematographer and the director and the film crew, they've done the work for you. They're telling you what to look at, and they're telling you what to look at because it adds to the story. So guys and girls, if you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're going to be breaking down a lot more film in the future. We're going to look at scenes from a lot of different perspectives. You know what? Next time, maybe I'll even color correct the scene, and maybe I'll even color grade it so it has a different vibe, and we can discuss whether or not that adds to the story or if it takes away from the storytelling perspective. But we're just going to wrap this up right here. Like I said before, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below if you like this video. Comment down below if there's a scene that you want me to break down. And of course, don't forget, we have a podcast every single Monday where we talk to people who are in the creative industry. They're established professionals who are making a living off of doing creative work. And we drop episodes every single Monday where they give you tips and tricks on how to run your business, your creative business. It's great. It's free. It's educational. So don't forget, don't miss out. And until next time, Peace.